Hello everyone, Gotcha Spark here. So with the latest news for update 4.5 livestream, we know that we will be getting the banners of 4 characters, one being the new 5-star Geo character Chiori and Ito in the first phase, alongside Kazuha and Neuvillette in the second half. So let's dive into the info for each of these characters so you can decide which characters deserve your Primogems, or maybe just skip and save. Also, timestamps will be in the description below if you want to skip to a certain character. So starting off with the new 5-star Chiori or Geo Kachin, since she seems very similar to the character. But anyways, her E skill will dash you forward in aiming mode similar to Kachin, and will summon a Geodoll that will occasionally deal Geo damage to the enemy. Also, you can switch characters in mid-air with her E skill, which is really cool to swap in with a plunge attack on the enemy. So far, Chiori seems like an interesting Geo character with the character swapping and summoning dolls, although we don't know how strong the dolls are, and they most likely take up space like any other Geo construct. Moving on, her burst delivers an attack that deals damage scaling from both her attack and defense, that is AoE Geo damage. Chiori also pairs well with other Geo units that deploys constructs, since when they create one, Chiori creates an additional Geodoll. Also, Chiori is able to infuse her attacks with Geo, so you get to take advantage of her cool basic attack chain using dual swords. So overall, Chiori seems like a character that would be a fun unit to have. But all that matters is as long as you're having fun playing the character. Fun over meta, in my opinion, is the best way to go. Lastly, Chiori passive talent that is not that great in my opinion, but anyways, it gives movement speed to characters not using the default outfit or glider. Moving on to the second character, Ito, he will be the banner releasing alongside Chiori in the first half of 4.5. Ito is a very strong Geo character who's able to dish out tons of damage. His basic attacks are interesting since they don't reset after sprinting or using his E skill, and his basic attacks grant him super strength when the second and fourth strike hits, with a max of 5 stacks, which will play into his charge attacks. His E skill is a pet he summons out that will taunt the enemies and grant Ito super stacks whenever the pet is attacked or when the pet hits enemies. Also, when it leaves the field, it will also grant a stack of super to Ito. Also, the pet is considered a Geo construct, so it will take up one of the 3 slots if you plan to use him with other Geo characters that create construct. Ito burst lets out his inner Raging Oni King, making normal, charge, and plunge attacks Geo damage. Normal attack speed increases, also increase attack based on defense. The first and third attack will grant him super, and lastly decreases Ito's element and physical resist by 20%. This ultimate is very strong, letting Ito destroy enemies in seconds. He's like a wild bull that can't be stopped. Ito's passive skills also make him more powerful, adding 35% of Ito's defense to his damage, and he gains attack speed and interruption resistance. Ito is a very powerful character and can easily be a Geo carry character if anyone is looking for a unit to fit that playstyle. In my opinion, Ito is worth your consideration to wish for if you like the strong powerhouse playstyle that can't be stopped. Next up is Kazuha, who will appear in the second half of 4.5. Kazuha is a very powerful support unit. His basic attacks aren't anything special, but his E skill, when you hold it, it pulls enemies in, then Kazuha lifts up into the air and can plunge back down, dealing animal damage to all enemies around him. This skill also gives back a decent amount of energy. It's also great to pick up other characters' abilities, like Cleave's little bombs that's on the field. Also, Kazuha scales greatly from Elemental Mastery, so doing reaction damage with his E skill is very strong, since the bonus it gets from triggering element reactions will deal 200% attack of the absorb element, easily wiping out weaker enemies like the small Heliotropes. You can also use his E skill to reach higher places like rooftops, although you might be able to do the same with Chiori's E skill. But anyways, moving on to Kazuha Burst. Kazuha's burst deals animal damage, while also creating a field that deals animal damage. The animal field he creates has elemental absorption, that infuses itself with an element and deals some pretty impressive damage to enemies. And upon triggering a sword reaction, Kazuha will grant party members 0.04% element damage to the absorb element for every point of elemental mastery he has for 8 seconds. Because of this, Kazuha is basically the best support for many different teams in the game. Also, he decreases stamina consumption when sprinting. He's also a strong meta character and is still very fun to play outside of meta if you have no interest in that stuff. Overall, I'll say Kazuha is a character that should be highly considered wishing for, since he's great overall. He's one that I recommend the most if you don't already have him. Now let's jump into the final character of 4.5, Neuvillette. So let's get straight to the point. Neuvillette, since he came out, has just been a monster, completely destroying everything in the game with his high DPS damage. From what I've seen, since I don't own the character so I may get this wrong, but he does high DPS damage when using his charge attack that deals high AoE damage in a line in front of him, which is very powerful if you are playing on PC, since the ability to turn your camera super quick with a mouse is crazy strong compared to a controller. Also, this attack will drain his HP to 50% and won't consume stamina. His E skill summons a Raging Waterfall, dealing AoE damage to enemies based on his max HP. Also generates 3 water droplets, which I think Neuvillette needs these to get the bonus on his charge attack. Next, his burst unleashes waves that will deal AoE damage based on Neuvillette's max HP, and after a short time, 2 waterfalls will deal hydro damage and a small AoE and will generate 6 water droplets. Also, for his talents, when a party member triggers Vaporize, Frozen, Electrocharge, Bloom, Hydro Swirl, or Hydro Crystallize reaction on opponents, 1 stack of Draconic will be gained for 30 seconds, max 3, and the stacks causes his charge attacks to deal 110, 125 to 160% more damage depending on stacks. And for each 1% of Neuvillette's current HP greater than 30% of max HP, he will gain 0.6% hydro damage bonus and only gain a maximum of 30% this way. Lastly, underwater sprint speed will be increased. So if you want a character who completely washes away anything that stands in your path, the Neuvillette will be the character that is 100% worth your gems, and is great in any part of the game you want to use him in. Well, unless the enemies is immune to Hydro, but he's still the best for 99% of the rest of the game. So with that, overall I say, although this is a filler patch, there is some really great choices for characters to wish for, especially with Kazuha and Neuvillette banners. So it's a hard choice to choose if you should wish for one of these 4 characters, or maybe save your gems, since the rumored character for 4.6 is the long-awaited Harbinger, the Knave, which is what most players may be saving for. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do any of these banners interest you? And how do you feel about Geokachin Shiori? Like and subscribe if you found this info helpful and to help this channel grow and for more future Genshin and gacha game content. And with that, thanks for watching.